Hello, and welcome to Clovis New Life with Pastor Scott Caldwell. We are glad you've taken time to visit our website, clovisnewlife.org. You are about to be blessed through a powerful message from God's Word. Listen now as Pastor Scott shares this life-changing message.
I want to finish up our sermon series today entitled Heart Condition. Say heart condition. Heart condition. Last week we started this sermon series entitled Heart Condition, and we talked about two heart conditions last week. First of all, we talked about coronary artery disease, or CAD, and we talked about how that if we're not careful, allowing sin and the plaque of the world to build up in our lives, and it causes blockages so that we don't receive the blessings of God flowing into our lives as freely as what God would like to send His blessings into our lives. Right? And then we talked about a heart murmur. And we discovered that the murmur is the sound that the heart makes when you live with a heart condition. And we talked about in the spiritual aspect that sometimes we allow the murmuring and the complaining to be the noise that comes out of our mouths when we're living with an issue that's unfavorable for our lives, or that we don't necessarily love, or that we don't necessarily like. And we talked about how praise and worship is the remedy for murmuring of the heart. And we talked about how the grace and the forgiveness and the blood of Jesus is the remedy to take care of any blockages that we have in our lives that keeps the blessings of God from flowing into our lives. And so today I want to finish up heart condition with two more heart conditions. Are you ready? And then I just want you to know that at the end of the service, we're going to pray for people again this week. We're going to pray for people again today that have heart conditions, physical heart conditions. We're going to believe and pray for healing in your lives this morning. But I want to start this morning by talking about a condition of having a hole in your heart. Now, I want to get just a little bit scientific with you this morning. Because you may not understand what the heart is like, but if you got a piece of paper and you drew 4 circles, two small ones on top and then 2 bigger ones on the bottom, we would be looking at the 2 circles at the top. They're called the atriums. Between the 2 atriums on the top, there's a thin membrane in between them that's called the septum. Now, when a child is conceived, that septum, that membrane, has a hole in it because the blood doesn't need to necessarily flow freely through an infant's body when it's still in the womb, because the mother provides everything that the child needs. Are you following me? Yes. Sometimes what happens is as the fetus, as the baby develops, that hole doesn't always close up. Sometimes it stays there, and that child, that person, literally lives with a hole in their heart. Obviously, this can be a very serious matter, and obviously because it has to do with the heart, these kinds of things, a hole in the heart has to be monitored closely. You have to take very good care of yourself, those people, and have it checked every so often, because if you don't have it checked, if they don't monitor it, then it can definitely cause some major problems. And so I want to talk about that for a moment, because here's the thing. We know that in this world we're going to have a lot of trouble, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. Now sometimes that hole, depending on the scenario, depending on the case, sometimes that hole can actually be sealed up and closed. And there are times that when that happens, that it leaves a scar there because of where the hole used to be. And so I want to flip this and talk to you about a hole in the heart, or maybe a broken heart, so to speak, in the spiritual sense. You see, life can bring us all kinds of trouble and pain. How many have been through a little bit of pain and trouble and despair? Amen? If you have not been through it, then I need to talk to you after church, because I want to know what your secret is. Because even Jesus said, we're going to talk about it in a moment, that in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. And so the world that we live in, the life that we live, can often be seemingly just plagued with problem after problem, after trouble, after trouble, after obstacle, after obstacle, after heartache, after heartache. How do you know what I'm talking about? And when we go through all the trouble that the world throws at us and that the enemy throws at us, and when life just seemingly happens to us, do you know what I'm talking about? Life just happening to you? When those things happen that sometimes you just think, I must be the most unlucky person in the world, or what is it, God, that I've done that is causing this? Listen, it's not necessarily that you have done anything. It's just that sometimes life happens to all of us. We're all going to go through some pain. We're all going to go through some trouble and some problems every once in a while. Because Jesus told us, that's what he says in John 10 or 16:33. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. Take heart. Jesus said, for I have overcome the world. What does that mean? What does that mean, for I have overcome the world? I want you to understand that Jesus has not just overcome your problem. See, Jesus said, in this world, you will have trouble. You know what that means? That means this world and the things of this world are the source of your problem. Now, you may say, well, I thought the devil was the source. That's true, but remember, he was kicked out of heaven to the earth, therefore the devil is of this world. Amen. So the source of every problem you face is the world. Are you following me? If you are, just kind of give me a thumbs up. So here's what Jesus is saying. In this world, the world's going to throw a ton of problems and obstacles and hurts and pains and just crazy things at you. But Jesus says, take heart. What does that mean? It means you don't have to worry about when your heart is broken. You don't have to worry about when crazy things happen to you, because I have not just overcome the problem, but I have defeated and overcome the source of the problem. That's a great thought right there. That it'd be like having an older brother that beats up the bully that bullies you every day. What did Big Brother do? He took care of the source of the problem. Jesus has taken care of the source of your problem, so we can take heart. We can be strong in heart. You see, all these things that we go through, and I don't know maybe what you're facing today. I don't know what condition your heart is in today. I don't know what condition you're in spiritually today, but here's what I know. There are times that we go through some very difficult times in our lives that can leave a hole in our heart. That can leave us brokenhearted. There are things that we face sometimes that the enemy just seems to just leave us brokenhearted, and it seems just to be a hole, a gap, a space in our heart. And here's what we've become so good at doing. We've become so good in the world today at finding everything that we possibly can to fill that hole. You know, when it rains around here, you know how the potholes get in the asphalt, right? And then a crew comes along and they fill in that pothole with some more asphalt, right? And then the next time the storm comes, guess what? That hole is there again, right? Which, by the way, I'm very thankful for that Norris 21st Street fix y'all did back then. That's awesome. I appreciate that, because there are always potholes there. And that's what happens to us spiritually. We go through a storm and it leaves potholes in our heart. It leaves a hole in our heart. Our hearts are broken. And then we take stuff from the world and we try to fill in that hole, and we try to heal that hole. And people use everything they can to try to fill in the hole in their life. They try to fill it in with power or popularity or money or sex or drugs or pornography, whatever it may be. Dreams, hopes, things that they're living for. I mean, they will take anything and everything. People, pleasing people. Oh, if I can just please my parents, then I'll be whole. If I can just please these people, then I'll be all right. And we take everything we can to throw in the hole of our heart to try to heal it up. And it never fails. The next time a storm comes through, guess what? That hole is still there. And it seems like every time it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Can I tell you, there is nothing big enough or strong enough or powerful enough or loving enough to fill the hole in your heart like Jesus can. Here's the thing that I know. There is nobody, there is no problem, there is no thing that is bigger than God. So when you have a big hole in your heart, when you have a big crack just right down the middle of your heart because you've gone through some problem, you can take everything that you can find in this world to try to fill that in and heal it, but it won't be big enough, it won't be powerful enough, and it won't be loving enough. Only Jesus is big enough to fill the hole and to heal the hole in your heart. And so today I just want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever answer it is that you're seeking, just know that nothing can fill the hole in your heart like Jesus can fill the hole in your heart. And He does it in such a way that the next time a storm comes, guess what? That hole is still filled. It's still taken care of. It's still covered up. Here's what the Bible tells us in Psalms 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Here's the thing. A hole in your heart spiritually or emotionally requires the same monitoring, probably even more than what a physical hole in the heart requires. Because if you don't monitor that broken heart, that hole in your heart spiritually or emotionally, it can cause you some incredible damage in your spiritual life. And yes, it can even lead to spiritual death. But God says that He heals the brokenhearted. He can heal the hole in anyone's heart. He binds up our wounds. Sometimes when Jesus does that, we're excited about that until we realize that there's a scar there. How many understand scars? Yes. Sometimes, even though Jesus heals you and binds up your wounds, sometimes there's still a scar that's there. And sometimes we're ashamed of our scars. How many know what I'm talking about? Listen, can I just tell you, you don't have to be ashamed of your scars. You see, because your scars are evidence to the world and reminders to you that He that is in you is greater than any problem that you've ever faced. And that with Jesus, you will survive. You will come through. You will come out being stronger than you were before. You'll come out being mightier than you were before. And you'll come out being able to be a testimony to others that are going through what God has brought you through. So don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid of your scars. Let them be reminders that God's come through for you once. God can come through for you again. If He's did it once, He can do it time and time and time again. If you believe that, say amen. Amen. I want to talk to you about probably one of the most popular heart conditions that we hear about, and that is the heart attack. Say heart attack. Heart attack. How many of you know someone or have known someone that has had a heart attack before? Raise your hand. We probably all do. Heart attacks can be minor, they can be severe, so severe that it kills its victim. And I don't really have to say a bunch about heart attacks because we kind of all know about heart attacks, and they can be caused by so many different things. They can be caused by some of the heart conditions that we've already talked about. But here's what I want to dwell on today. I want to dwell on the spiritual aspect of the heart attack because, you know, we can talk about my uncle or this person, my friend's dad or whatever, they had a heart attack. We all know someone that's had a heart attack. And how does that relate to us in a spiritual sense? Well, here's what I can tell you. I can tell you that the enemy is all about attacking you in every way that he can. We're going to talk about why he attacks the heart in just a few moments. But understand, this is his job. This is his portfolio. John 10:10 tells us the devil's portfolio. His portfolio is this: to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Make no ands, ifs, or buts about it. The devil wants to kill you, spiritually and physically. He wants to steal from you. He wants to take everything that God has ever blessed you with. And I'm not just talking about cars and computers. I'm talking about sons and daughters and spouses and loved ones. The enemy wants to do everything he can to kill you, to steal from you, and to destroy your life. He wants to destroy your testimony. That's why he tempts you, and that's why he attacks you in every way that he can. Why? Because he wants to destroy you. So he attacks you. He tempts you. He tests each and every one of us to see if we'll have the heart to stand for Christ. So he'll tempt us in ways that he knows we're weakest at. Why? Because he wants to destroy your testimony. He wants to make you feel like because of what you've done, because of what you've gone through, because of how you failed, that you have no business telling anybody about Jesus Christ. He wants to destroy your testimony. He wants to destroy your life. That's what he's all about. That's what he does. That's who he is. And so he attacks in every way possible. And if we're not careful, those attacks can be so severe that they can take our spiritual lives and even our physical lives at times. Now, sometimes the enemy, he likes to attack in small ways, in minor ways. And I just want you to understand something, that the enemy doesn't always take a big old boulder and bring it and hold it over your boat called life and drop this big old huge mountainous boulder in your boat to sink you. Do you know why he doesn't do that all the time? Because that is easily seen. I mean, somebody comes and holds something huge over you and all of a sudden the sun disappears. You understand something's going on. And so he doesn't always do that. Here's what the enemy likes to do. He likes to put on his scuba mask and snorkel or his scuba tank. The devil is for spiritual scuba. And he likes to dive down into your spiritual life, up under your boat, with a little nail and a little hammer. And when you're in the back of the boat, he likes to swim up towards the front of the boat and tap a little hole here, tap a little hole there, and then another one here. Until you notice, oh, wait a second, there's a little bit of water getting in my lifeboat. I think it'll be all right. I'll check it later. And then he'll keep tapping in the front of the boat until finally, okay, I've got about 6 inches of water in my lifeboat. I better go do some work. And so we go to the front of the boat because our heart is being attacked, because now we're under attack and we're trying to fix everything. And then the devil swims to the back of the boat and another hole here and another hole there. And if we don't monitor things before we know it, there's so many holes in our life and so many holes in our heart. We've been attacked so hard that we can't keep ourselves afloat. And so we begin to sink. The minor things can kill you spiritually if you don't take care of them. But then there are some times that he gets you so captivated and steals your attention in such a way that you don't even realize what's going on. There are times that he will attack you with a major spiritual heart attack to try to take you out just like that. That's his job. That's what he wants to do. He is an attacker of Christians. And he will use anything and anybody he can to attack your heart.
That's right.
He will.
Yes.
He will use anything and anyone he can to attack you. So we have to be alert. We have to be ready. Because you see, he wants to destroy you. He wants to completely destroy you. You see, here's how we started off this sermon series. We started off this sermon series last week by saying that the heart is the single most vital organ in your body. It's the most important part of your body, of your life. I don't want you to know that the enemy will attack you. He will attack you spiritually in your heart. And if you're not careful, he'll take you out. But when you have a heart attack, when the enemy attacks you, the best thing for you to do is to do what Proverbs chapter 3 says. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Amen. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Pastor Scott, what are you talking about? You see, here's the thing. If you know the enemy is going to attack your heart, the best place for your heart to be is in the hands of God. It's in the hands of God. God is so much bigger than the devil. I can remember when my kids were little, and I would get something that they want every once in a while. I'd play with them. Dads, you understand what I'm talking about. And I'd hold it way up high like this because they were little, they couldn't reach it. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Come on, Dad, give it to me. Come on, come on. Nah, nah, nah. Right? Listen, knowing that the enemy is all about attacking you and attacking your heart, the best place for your heart is in the hands of God, because God is so much bigger than the enemy. As long as your heart is in the hands of the Lord, He's not going to be able to reach it. The devil's not going to be able to reach it. So you got to trust in the Lord with all of your heart. You're not going to understand everything that's going on, but as long as your heart is in God's hands, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. As long as your heart is in the hands of God, you'll survive the heart attacks from the enemy. But the heart is the single most vital part of your life. The single most vital part of your body. So knowing that the enemy is going to attack your heart, it would be good to have Jesus in your heart. Here's what I know. Most thieves don't come and steal while somebody's at home, while somebody's inside, while somebody is there and the lights are on. Anytime lights are on, it's a deterrent to the thief. Can I tell you, if Jesus is at home in your heart, if the light of Christ is on in your heart, it's going to deter the thief from giving you a heart attack. Why? Because your heart is in the hands of God and Jesus is in your heart. Amen. You don't want to go anywhere around Jesus. He's been there. He's tried that. It didn't work out so well for him. As a matter of fact, Jesus gave him a heart attack. Amen. Aren't you glad about that? And so I want to encourage all of us today to put our hearts in the hands of God and to make sure that Jesus is living inside of our heart. Because it doesn't matter what heart condition the enemy tries to plague you with Jesus in your heart, you're going to be all right. You're going to be heart strong because Christ is in you. And greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world.
Thank you for joining us today at Clovis New Life. We hope you enjoyed today's message. If you are in Clovis, New Mexico area, or you have plans to come to the area, we would love for you to be a part of one of our services. If you've watched this message by YouTube, check us out on the web at clovisnewlife.org. May God richly bless you.